Hi, I'm Harry. I work in IT. I'm a professional photographer. I love being on Instagram and having a great time with my friends. And I suffer from depression. But I'm not here to cure depression. And I'm not here to stop people from having suicidal thoughts. And I'm not here to tell you that you will be fine. I am here to tell you how depression is an often invisible, not socially accepted illness. And where if you would break your leg, you will have no problem getting sympathy from your family and friends. And I'm here to tell you that if you suffer from this like me, or you know someone who does, there are ways you can help. If you are different from society, or if you are different from what society expects from you, the chances are you will struggle a lot more. And at age 16, I realized I was more than sad. I was just down all the time. And I felt as if the whole world was against me. Discovering I was attracted to boys did not make it any easier. All the tough talk around you about girls and words like fag and gay as curse words flying around all the time made me so unhappy. Coming out to my parents didn't make it easier either. They needed some time to adjust, and I basically just ended up not talking to them anymore. I realized I was so sad. It wasn't sadness anymore, it was a real depression. And I thought at that point it was best to stop right there. Because who would miss me? Nobody, I was sure. Or so I thought. When time passed, I knew something was terribly wrong, but I had no idea how to handle it. I felt so embarrassed towards the world, and towards my parents. And I was so convinced that if I would tell anybody how I really felt, I would only hurt their feelings, and they wouldn't be able to help me anyway. Or so I thought. It took me until age 20 to finally open to a psychologist. And during regular meetings, I was telling someone for the first time ever how I really felt. And together with my GP, the decision came to combine my therapy with some light medication to help me get out of my black hole. And you know what? It worked. I learned something. Talking to people apparently does work. Because if nobody knows what's going on inside your head, how do you expect them to help you? Here comes lesson number 1. Harry, don't forget, talk to people. And with my improved mental health, my life improved as well. I got a new job, my energy level was way up, and I met this cute guy. And then at age 25, I bought my first apartment and moved in together with my boyfriend. Yay, life is perfect! Oh wait, age 27. Depression decided it would come back for round 2. But it's probably just a phase, it will go away. Probably just ignore it, it will fade away. And I mean, if I tell anyone, I will only be a burden to them anyway. And what would my parents think if I would tell them that I am not happy to be alive? It will go away. Or so I thought. And time slowly progressed, and my mind was driving me crazy. My mind was just pushing my thoughts constantly towards thoughts that I did not want to have. And then at age 29, I was sitting with a customer who needed a new website, a psychologist. And discussing what message she wanted to bring across made me mention something about my mental state to her. And immediately she suggested to go see a certain psychologist. I was like, why did I even mention it? And what can this person do for me? I have already gone through therapy, and I am back at square one anyway. Nonetheless, I decided to give them a call. And within no time, I was sitting there, pouring my heart out, and immediately I felt relieved. It was no longer just my problem, and I had someone to back me up. I started therapy, and I've learned so much about myself, especially about things that I want to do, or things that I don't want to do. And one of the main things I've learned is that you cannot make everybody happy. You cannot say yes to every single thing people ask of you, but setting those boundaries can be really hard. And I always wanted people to like me, but then, at what cost? I continued my therapy combined with some light medication again to find some peace and balance. And I felt as if I was back on track. I was taking those little steps in the right direction, finding out what I care about in life. And for example, I realized that the job I was in was not good for my mental health. I wanted something with more meaning, so at age 32, I started working in education. So my second lesson would be, take care of yourself, set some boundaries, and say no sometimes. Oh yeah, and this one may sound familiar. Harry, don't forget, talk to people. It seemed like I had it all worked out. I had a new job, I was still happy with my handsome boyfriend, I was living in a beautiful house, I was traveling the world, and even I forgot that depression is an illness that does not work with logic or reasoning. So just like your high blood pressure might return, so might depression. Third time's a charm, right? Well, at least depression decided would be. Age 33. More and more days, I just wanted to stay in bed and not see anyone. And I told my fiancé that I was just tired. But my thoughts became darker and darker by day. And staying in bed was my solution. As long as I did not see people, they would not be asking questions. And as long as I would be asleep, I would not be awake and stressing out about life. I often thought, how would it be if I would not wake up anymore? And the pain would be gone. I would not have to cry anymore. I not feel this immense sadness that pulls me underwater every single minute of the day. And struggling to keep afloat felt close to impossible. Depression is just such a horrible illness that eats bits of you away all the time. And I was stupid enough not to talk to anyone again. 2018 was a year with some highs, but some very, very bad lows. I had been feeling bad for a while, and I wasn't getting any better. Well, maybe for a little bit. Summer came, and with summer came sunshine. I went on holiday, which distracted me for a little bit. I also started picking up my photography again. Also signed up for 18 months of gym membership. I was going to do this, lose some weight, and hopefully it would have a positive impact on my mental health as well. It was the beginning of September, and I had just returned from New York, where I photographed the wedding of a famous singer. And I was doing all the right things. I was getting out there, I was saying yes to stuff. But depression just hit me like a sledgehammer. On social media, I would only show all the fun stuff I was doing. Hey, I'm in San Francisco, and now I'm in New York. Oh, now I'm having dinner with my friends again. I am so sure that anyone who followed me on Instagram would have thought I was living the happiest life possible. And I think there would even be people be jealous of some things. But things are not always what they seem. Just like on autopilot, I had become so good at deceiving friends, family, my fiancé, my colleagues, my followers, tricking them into thinking I was doing great. But I was not doing great. I thought about death a lot. And how it would affect my family, my fiancé. I was also being practical. Can my fiancé keep our apartment? Are we insured? I felt so detached from reality. October 13, 2018. Highest temperature ever recorded in the Netherlands on that date. On nice days like that, I like to go to the beach. So on this day I went as well. I went by myself, but I ended up meeting some friends there. And it was just a perfect day. Great weather, great company. And as the day progressed, obviously people started to leave. Not me. I stayed. I sat on the sand, still with the sun on my face, and it wasn't long until I started to cry. Tears running down my face. And despite the seemingly beautiful day, and the sun doing its very best to shine its warm and comforting rays on my skin, my darkness had won again. Depression won again. And remember how I told myself not to forget to talk to people, and how I did forget on several occasions? Well, I mentioned to a friend how dark my thoughts were, and he made me look at things from a different perspective. At that point, I definitely did not want to live for me, but would it not be fair towards my family, or more importantly my fiancé, to seek help again and to talk again? I called my doctor. Group therapy! Isn't that something from the movies where a bunch of addicted people sit in a circle saying their name and their addiction? Well, actually no. We did not sit in a circle. We sat in the square, as there were rectangular tables, you know. And we weren't talking about addiction, no. Mental health problems, that was our shared problem. And I am so happy that I agreed on doing this kind of therapy. And just talking to these people made me realize there are so many other problems in the world as well. And I often felt guilty for how I felt. But every pain is real pain and equally valid. In this group, there was no judgment, there was understanding, there was support. I used to have two modes. I would hibernate, or I would fight the feelings. If I would hibernate, I would just be asleep, closing my eyes, trying to avoid my bad thoughts, but it wasn't a solution at all. And fight the feelings could be so draining of energy, because it is not always the solution. So here's lesson number 3. It is okay to not be okay, but we do need to figure out what is the best way for us to deal with this. Don't let those bad feelings linger on, and break free from that spiral down before you hit the bottom. I make plans ahead nowadays, which are hard to back out of. I mean, look at me, I'm standing on this stage. And I am happy I did when they're there. Those can be dinner parties with friends, or my photography, or traveling. Along the way, I have learned a few things, and I would love to share them with you today. We are the key to our own happiness, and we need to take action. And that action can just be a text to your friend, saying you need help, or mentioning to your family that you don't feel good. Or if you are that friend, reach out and help. And we need to speak up. We are not alone, but we won't know that until we talk. The only one who can make a change happen is you. And the only one who can make you happy is you. So start something today, make a change, talk, and be the best version of you ever. Thank you very much.